Welcome everybody to the Empire Fight Series review of last week's show. Today is November the 9th and we're here to discuss a lot of things, Adam. One particular thing, for instance, that we need to discuss. We'll get into all the bouts. We'll review 7 or 8 of the fights on the pro card. We can't get through all the 15 bouts. We're going to try and keep this to around about an hour if we can. But before we get started, a big thank you to our sponsors. Without our sponsors, the shows can never happen. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Next Ride, to Satin Pathology. These guys have been with me for quite some time, as has Mandy Hopper from MH Performance. To Palmerbet for getting back on board with us again. Thank you very much. For the Max fight, we organised that in pretty much a day or two, didn't we, Adam? So if it wasn't for these sponsors, that bout would never have happened, and that is Loans Unlimited, Above All Metal Roofing WA, and a big thank you to Pinky from Team Pinky's Gym. And of course, we had Pursuit and Genesis on board, Adam, and how amazing was the Superfat gloves and shorts. Great to have Superfat on board as our equipment sponsor. The shorts looked a treat, and so did the gloves. Adam, thank you very much for that. Absolutely. Okay, so the big thing from last week's show was the Rodlek versus Pern bout.
I told you our name would be up in lights. And after only 2 shows,
yep.
You have 5 years clean slate, and then you hook up with me, and I've put you through the
for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, mate. It's me. I'm the common denominator on this.
So the I feel very awkward calling it a fight, but the Rodlek versus Pern sparring session. By the way, we will have the whole fight footage. Will go up on Monday with the podcast, so people can watch the fight themselves, Adam, and make their own decision. I've had just about every experienced main person, people I respect in Australia, message and call me all week, promoters, coaches, you name it, telling me what a fast that fight was, and it's very disappointing for us. We're going to get into that. We are going to discuss it. It kind of did start. We were pretty happy to keep it quiet. We did what we had to do on the night, but unfortunately, Singpiak decided to post some very untrue comments that we didn't pay Rodlek at all, and he was abandoned, and we didn't pay, and all this kind of stuff. So we'll get into that, but I think we'll get you to discuss something that's very important to us.
Look, before we, Facebook posts from people like Singpiak don't really bother me. I mean, I'll be first on record to say that the guy's got form. You got to look at the character of where these things are coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep wanting to say Singpiak PTJ, but that's offensive to Andrew. But I think he stole his logo. Is that no, or just his members?
But members logo.
I digress.
You name it.
So the character of somebody like that, it doesn't faze me. If you want to go and post something to a chat group in Thailand that's incorrect, that's cool.
That's
he
on you.
threatened it throughout the ordeal.
He did. Yep.
If that's what makes you feel better, all the best, and I hope that helps.
But he actually had a sham fight himself on Rebellion.
Well, he's got form in a couple
He's
of
got
areas.
form, yeah.
But on a business note, I suppose the hardest thing when you're trying to do something different, or not different, because there's some fantastic promotions out there, but when you're trying to do something important,
our way,
is to have a set of values in which the business is governed, and for me, this breached a couple of values that are very close to my heart. And I think when you set the standard for a company and as a person, and you don't stick by those values when times get tough, no matter what's thrown at you, I don't think you should be in business.
There's no backtracking for us.
So for us, if we've got 5 that we work towards. And if I want to, I'll just read out, to bore you to tears. But our second one on the list, I won't go through all of them, otherwise you might fall asleep. But
they're important to us, though, Adam.
Yeah. Number 2 on our list is showcasing top quality fights. We deliver world-class Muay Thai events that highlight skill, strength, and commitment. Every fight is crafted to present the pinnacle of Muay Thai, ensuring fans witness sport at its best, and we failed you at that, and that's what I'm sorry for.
Yeah.
Number 3. As I said, there's 5, I'm not going to read all, but it's creating exceptional fan experience. I'm not interested in the way somebody feels, I'm sorry, in Phuket because they don't have the right information. Yeah. Our goal is to reach an audience that's beyond the community that is Thai boxing, for Bob at his gym to be able to drag 4 or 5 mates who probably would have gone to the footy to come and show them what we do.
Yep.
And to get the casual fan and increase the eyeballs on our sport.
Correct. Help increase the sport.
And we can only do that if we create an exceptional fan experience.
Yep.
And we didn't do that with this fight. Our fans are at the heart of our work. We strive to make these events memorable by providing a seamless, engaging experience that honours our fans' passion for the sport. We failed.
Yep.
We had people leaving, asking for their money back.
Complaining.
Because they thought this fight was fake.
Yep.
That's what I'm sorry for.
Yep. Sorry to the fans.
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, if I can speak from the heart here, to Singpiak, I'd like to apologise for absolutely nothing.
Correct.
Nothing.
There's no apology from us in the way that we conducted ourselves, which was in a very professional manner. And we'll get to all that. We're going to tell the whole story on what we did behind the scenes, folks, which we were going to keep to ourselves.
But
But
the deep stuff out the way. Let's roll on.
we are going to get into all of that. But I think it's important that, the Muay Thai community that's come out and touched base with us and reached out to us this week has been amazing.
Yeah.
We never had any second thoughts, but to have everyone reach out to us and tell us their thoughts and how the fight was fake and that they don't blame us for what we did was really good to hear. So let's get into that, guys. The post from Singpiak was very incorrect, and then therefore other people that shared his posts, Thailand, Sydney, wherever, of course, because Singpiak led the charge, everyone jumped on board and shared and commented without getting all versions of the story. So their posts are also incorrect. So, this is kind of, gone viral or travelled. So Singpiak's post said that we abandoned Rodlek and that we did not pay him. Well, that's very false. We didn't want to pay him, did we? We felt like not paying him.
We'll maybe start from the start with the negotiations, and we had some issues that we raised along the way that we thought might lead us down this path.
Yeah. So when I matched the bout, I mean, look, we found out a few things in the preparation before the bout, and one of the things that we found out was that Rodlek and Pern are friends, family friends, grew up together, fought each other as kids.
Yeah, their mums are friends.
And their mums are friends. And then we found out the mums were very upset at their two boys for fighting each other. And that was a big alarm bell for me. When I heard that the mums were friends and didn't want their boys to fight, that's when I got really worried. So
why are you communicating with these boys' mum? What's going
on?
No,
this is what I heard.
Oh, right. So there's no DMs we didn't know.
No.
Okay.
So I rang both coaches. And I think this is very important that people understand this because this story was not told by Singh. I rang Singpiak, and I rang Simon from Sunset Muay Thai, Pern's coach. I rang Singpiak and I told him what I'd heard, and I was concerned. Singpiak's exact words to me were, "This is Rodlek. Rodlek does not fight like that. Rodlek pushes forward and is very aggressive, and Rodlek is there to finish him to win." Now, maybe I was naive, but I took that from another coach as face value, and I copped it. I believed it. I said, "Radio Singh, this is Rodlek. I know Rodlek's style."
And
good.
Look,
good to hear that.
For anybody over the age of 40, I think the analogy I'd use is we wanted a star. We booked Daryl Braithwaite,
yes,
and he didn't sing horses. Right?
Sang three songs.
We got his B-side of the soft junk that you go to those concerts for.
And you don't want to hear the main song.
You want to hear the main song and you want to hear it again in the encore. And we didn't get either of those
We
things.
got none of that.
And that's the first major issue. You don't get what you paid for.
So I was promised by Singh that Rodlek was there to fight and that Rodlek wanted to finish him. So I took that as gospel. I then rang Pern's coach, Simon, and look, I don't blame Simon for any of this, by the way. I think this is something done between both fighters, but we'll get to that. I rang Simon and I said, "Simon, this is what I've heard. This is concerning for us." And I was also reassured from Simon 100% that Pern's there to fight and that they're going to go for it. Okay. Yeah. So again, I took that on face value. Then kind of jumping backward and forward a little bit, after Rodlek had fought on MTL against Albert Tour, he got a nasty, great fight. If you watch Rodlek in that fight, even though he lost, if you watch him in that fight, it was a different person to the one that fought Pern last Saturday night.
We got the Timu version.
Yes, we did.
We ordered Rodlek on Wish.
You call it a version. So during the fight, you could see Rodlek, there was a lot of blood. And I was watching the fight a little bit concerned, but it's only a bit of blood. However, a little bit before the show, I think a week before our show, maybe 10 days.
It was a couple, because I remember, and these are I jump in here, is I had a similar conversation about whether or not Pern was in good nick. You know,
right.
They were sort of saying, no, he's not great, he hasn't been trained well, so there was the call for...
Well, we heard that Pern wasn't training all that hard. That's another thing that we heard.
Yeah, so try and make it a 3-round fight.
But the next big concern, besides the fact that they were friends from school and their mums knew each other, I had someone who were nameless on the East Coast sent me a picture of Rodlek's face in the change rooms after the MTL fight. And that's the picture I sent to you. And the cut was really, really bad. A lot worse than what you could see during the fight. So I rang Singh and I said to him, we're worried about this cut. Is the fight going to go the distance? If I was Pern, I'd be aiming for it. Do you want to change the fight from 5 rounds to 3? And Singpak was adamant that he wanted the bout to be 5 rounds. But we were there. If both coaches would have agreed, we could have changed it to 3 rounds because we were worried whether that cut was going to last. I had the same discussion with Simon. Simon was happy for it to go 5 rounds. They needed the time to try and target the scar. Obviously, you would think elbows. Jumping backward and forward, what I found very strange in the interview that Alex Roberts did with Rodlek after the bout, Rodlek said to Alex put the heat on him and questioned him about the fight not being a very good bout. And Rodlek answered it by saying that he was injured, sore elbow, sore knee, sore wrist, sore this, very injured, very sore, his body's a bit battered. The next day, or the day later, Alliance, a show over in Queensland, announced that Rodlek is fighting on their show in 5 weeks. Why would you be fighting if you're complaining that you didn't perform well because
and had
you're
the option
injured?
To fight at 3 rounds, why not take that?
Should have taken the option to fight at 3 rounds. Now, when I'm digressing a bit, when you look at the footage of the fight, folks, and when we release it on Monday, Pern did not throw one elbow at that scar. And by the way, I picked Rodlek up and Dieselek from the airport on Friday morning.
There were in his defence, there were round 2. I think there were a couple of poking elbows from Pern.
No, they were uppercut elbows to the chin. Yep. There wasn't one elbow to the scar. Right. I've watched the fight 5 times this week, and I commentated on it as well. So I was watching it very closely. There was a few little elbows off the ropes that looked like, I'm going to throw an elbow, and they missed by 3 metres. They weren't real attempts. There wasn't an up and over cutting type elbow to the scar. There wasn't one for the whole fight. And so the first thing I did when I picked him up from the airport is I looked at his scar, and it was still hadn't healed properly. It still didn't look good. And I looked at it and thought, geez, if Pern only needs to get him once with a sharp elbow and it's going to split, right? And that would be the target. So it was very disappointing to see that didn't happen. But I just think it's funny that we gave him the opportunity. We didn't know that Rodlek was injured.
No.
We didn't know that. I offered them to change it from 5 to 3.
Yeah.
It was turned down, obviously, because if it drops from 5 to 3 rounds, the purse would decrease. We gave him the option. Singpak didn't want a bar of that. Yeah. He wanted the 5 rounds.
And then you have a look at the fight itself. So obviously, Darius is in the commentary, and I was sitting with the commissioner and the MC over in the neutral corner.
They weren't happy.
And round 1,
it's pathetic.
Mate, I remember, I'll tell you what, we did here's a story for you. In 2010, 2 of our guys do a Muay Baran exhibition.
Yep.
In Highgate.
Yep.
At a bloody cultural fair.
At the lake, at Hyde
more
Park.
realistic, I think they'd had about 6 frothies. And they put on a better show. That round 1, I can't think of anything that landed.
So any gym sparring session on Saturday morning had it was a better performance.
So then you think, okay, round 1, they're just getting it out of the way. Round 2, okay, same. Round 3, mate, it was bugger all.
There was nothing.
And then the issue I've got is, we've got a betting agency. We got I think 1,400 people in the venue.
Yep.
They've come to see this fight. I appointed Darius. Darius went over to Rodlek. I went to the corners
after the rounds and said, boys, you got to fucking fight.
And that's probably where I bring in Simon, because Simon from Pern's corner was just distraught. I mean, his answers to me was just, mate, I'm telling him he's not listening, he's not doing it. And
what does that tell you?
And then And Simon's a good fella. He's had some success, probably.
I'm not blaming
in
Simon.
the amateur ranks.
Yeah,
but
I'm not blaming
I
him.
think that fight was probably the biggest that he's been a part of.
Of course it was. Yeah.
And not hasn't experienced that kind of thing before.
Yeah.
But he tried his guts out, so I can't poke anything at him.
Yeah. And he hasn't posted any stupid shit that I've seen on social media.
Look,
I mean, if he does, then that's going to be a different story, and I'll contact him. But
then the end of the fight came, and I got in the ring and sort of pulled both camps into one corner.
You gave them both barrels, mate,
and
as you should have.
And because I thought, geez, we've been stitched up here. We've got commission in tow. We've got a betting agency on the go.
Yeah.
We need to be seen to not being a part of this, whatever this sham is. So I went over to the corner, and as I said, Simon was distraught. The guys in Singpiak's corner, I mean, I tried to speak to...
They said, fuck all.
I tried to speak to Dieselek, and I thought, geez, well, he's been a part of some good gyms. He's been here a long time. He must have some good English. Mate, it was like my laptop was updating. Just looking in his eyes, speaking to him like he was buffering.
Yeah.
Like his antenna fell out.
He didn't know what to say.
The other guy that was with him, an Aussie guy, I tried to sort of...
I believe that's Singh's business partner for the gym.
Quizzed him up, and man, he was about as useful as a chocolate teapot.
He said fuck all as well.
So I thought, okay, well, this isn't getting through, so we'll just leave it and just deal with it after. And the premise was, look, I just need to hold on here. I'm not paying anybody because I need to go home and I need to calm down.
Process it and calm
have
down.
A look at it.
We were both livid, weren't we?
And we told them, look, we'd discuss it on Monday.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll cut you off there, mate.
No, that's okay. I'm still trying to get through all the ins and outs, but it's just there's so many things behind the scenes that obviously fight fans, even other fighters and coaches don't see, and that's why it's disappointing when you see a post with bullshit information.
The abandon. I mean, the guy came over. All was normal. Bring him over.
Well, let's talk about that.
Get to the airport. Darius picks him up. Gets to the hotel. He wants a second room. And as we try to oblige, the only one available is an executive suite. So,
upgrade.
All right, we'll upgrade him to an executive suite. What's he going to do? Not going to fight?
Yeah.
There's $450 there, and then you give him
$300.
So
to elaborate, we got there and we had Rodlek and Dieselek in the one hotel room. Now, normally when there's a female fighter and a coach, we always separate and give 2 rooms. As far as I know, all promoters or most promoters around Australia do the same thing. I've certainly done it.
I've been on.
You put the fighter and the coach in the same room. We got to the hotel there in South Perth, and Rodlek wasn't happy. He wanted his own room,
and that's fine.
No questions asked.
But it has to be in the negotiation period of the agreement.
So Rodlek offered to pay for it himself, right in front of me, and Dieselek was there, and the three of us were talking. And I spoke to the concierge. I pulled out my card and I paid for his room. Yep. So he got an upgrade.
Terrible. That's disgraceful, Darius.
Well, I mean, it's the truth. So these are the things that people don't see. So he wanted to have his own room, done. So I upgraded him to an executive suite room, booked that in, paid for it on the spot, job done. There should be no more complaints as far as that goes. We also gave him...
Chunk of cash?
Cash. We give all our visitors cash. So
as
we
gave all promoters?
As all promoters do it. Yep. So Dieselek got $50 a day and Rodlek got $50 a day. So I think it was 3 days. So I handed over $300 cash to both boys. That's for food money. Plus, obviously, we offer to reimburse everyone for taxis and Ubers and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the Ubers I covered through the app and they caught
yes, you did on your
together.
True. So, but we still paid for it regardless. Yeah. So all this stuff that we didn't pay, we didn't do this, we're doing that. It's a crock of bullshit. We'll get to the person in a second, but all these things behind the scenes don't get mentioned, and we did that as we do for everyone else. So look,
the only truth about it is, the following day, we didn't invite him we went to the raffles, we took the guys out for some beers and pizzas.
Why would we?
That's what
I'm not fucking inviting people to pay for their lunch when they didn't fight.
Yeah, so I was a little bit too angry there. So, but he was there with his entourage. There's an Aussie guy there. I mean, I think he's 30.
I mean, they're grown men. They can look after themselves.
To the airport.
Yeah.
Well,
so what we do, folks, and this is something that I've did for years with MTGP, is the next day we always take out our international and interstate fighters and coaches, we take them for lunch. Local pub in Perth called the Raffles. We take them there, we shout them some food and some pizza, and we get to thank them for being on the show, win, lose or draw, and it's a good couple of hours. We didn't invite Rodlek, and we didn't invite Dieselek. I did prior to the show, I teed it up with Singpiak, but on the morning of the next day, I didn't send a message saying what time the meet is, because we were still so pissed off what they did to us and what they did to our fans that we couldn't sit there with them after what they did to us. So we didn't invite them for lunch. That's about the only thing that we did, if you want to call that being abandoned. But by the way, they got lunch money every day, guys, so they could have gone and bought their lunch money with the $300 cash we gave them. So I think going back to the fight, you know, Adam and I, you know, I'm at the stage that I don't care what anyone says, whether they watch the footage, whether they were there live, whether they're on Singpiak's team or our team, whatever. I don't care if someone tries to say to us that they fought for real. I'm just not going to buy it. I've been around the sport way too long. You've been around the sport way too long. You know, I'm a head official for Muay Thai Australia.
Yeah, we just...
and I've seen many bouts in my time. This is the 6th year I've been a promoter for, and it's the first time I've never paid a fighter or paid them half their purse. So I've never had this issue before. This is new to me.
The only problem is, you know, that I get... you know, so this all sort of stuff went down. I reached out to a bunch of people that I, you know, thought, you know, I'll ask a couple of people in my circle what they thought in case, you know, I was a bit red and one-eyed on the night and all that sort of thing. And a few people got back and they said, oh, well, you know, it's Thai versus Thai. And
doesn't matter.
I mean, that's, I come, you know, I was talking to one of the lads before, you know, I'm coming off the back of, I suppose, some of the more marquee fighters that we've brought over and worked with over, you know, we got Kumsab and we had, you know, Robocop, Sang Moricott.
Yep, big
and
names.
These guys, Thai versus Thai, they go in and throw down. So I don't think it's a Thai versus Thai and, okay, you've just got to deal with it.
They knew each other.
Your conversation,
they were friends.
They got to fight.
They grew up together.
That's garbage. To me, that's garbage. If that's the way you want to, if that's okay in Bangla, sweet.
Not here.
Go to Bangla. But what we need to do, I feel, and I'm only speaking to myself here, I can't speak for Darius, but hopefully he agrees, is we need to set the standard for this event. If you want to come here, we will give you everything and more. We gave bonuses to other fighters. That's not going to make the news.
We did.
For throwing down and committing and giving their all. But come here
and fight
and do nothing, and you're not going to get the support or the payment. You know, we get guys come over, they're a kilo over. I mean, we look at Rodlek, Rodtang today, losing purse over being a kilo over. You know, but that's an accepted norm within our community. I mean, that fight should have been, and I'm not picking on referees or whatever, but anyway, you know, anywhere that could have been called off. And if it was called off, mate, no one should have got paid.
I tell you what, I like the one FC system where they get the yellow card and the ref has to pull out the yellow card for inactivity during the bout. This is not sham. This is just inactivity. They dock 20% of their pay straight away. So look, it's just a shame that it's come to this. I haven't had this in my time, and I'm certainly don't want to be going through this again. So we have every right to do what we did with the purse, and that is after a couple of days of talking, Adam and I, and trying to talk to the coaches, getting told that they fought for real, which we just couldn't accept. It's just, I wasn't going to have anyone tell me that they fought for real. It was just bullshit. So we docked both boys' purse 50%. So to put that into money terms, it cost Rodlek $2,500 and it cost Pern $1,250. That's what we docked them. And, you know, really the mood that we were in at the time, the mood that we're still in now, fucking lucky we paid them anything at all, mate. But that's how I still feel.
The problem with I suppose, the way the world works these days is we had a full house with 100 VIP tables. You've got
out of table. We weren't allowed to put any more up.
You got fights like Kean and Sam. You know, the knockout from Damon. And it's nothing, because what we do as a people is focus on the bullshit and the negativity. And that's, I just think.
But that was created by posting
but I mean,
shit.
I never understood that from
untruths,
from
lies,
a community level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? And to be fair, it hasn't really been Definitely hasn't been WA Muay Thai that has jumped on that. There's been a tiny bit over east, but it's been mainly overseas that have jumped on and reposted. I mean,
No, because I don't know the truth.
I had a guy comment, I won't name who he is because we end up having a chat. He commented on his page. He's got 400,000 members. It's a Muay Thai page. He commented on how bad we were. And I was going to take him to task on the comments. I thought, no, that's wrong. I just rang him on Messenger. And good on him, he answered. And this is 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, 2 nights ago. We talked for 20 minutes. I gave him the full story that we've discussed now. And by the end of my 20 minutes, he was obviously very interested in wanting to watch the fight. So he pulled all his comments, he took them off, and he's actually very keen to wait until Monday to watch the footage. And I said to him, look, I can't tell you how you view that bout, but just do me a favour, and when you watch it, put your honest views on there. Right? Put your honest views on what you think of that bout, because it's easy, it's plain to see for anyone that it was a fixed sham fight.
Yeah. I think the only good thing to come out of it is, Rodlek's probably going to pull his finger out for his next fight. So
he won't fight like that again.
Yeah, whoever his next opponent is might be in a bit of strife.
Well, he's fighting an Aussie, I believe. So, look, I don't think it's going to be a problem with Rodlek in the future because I think promoters won't match him.
I think to finish this up, because I've had enough of bloody chatting about it and thinking about it. But on a whole, the fight was poor. We made a decision to reduce pay, not remove it. Because they delivered absolute garbage. I think I'll sleep at night. I think the overarching factor, and a lot of the community knows, especially in Sydney, that Singpac's a twit. And if you want to throw mud on Facebook, that's cool. We'll leave you there in the mud, and we'll
rise above it, won't we?
Yeah, let's kick on.
I will finish with one thing though, and that is that we Adam and I are upset. What happened was very disrespectful to us. But you touched on it before. It's the fight fans. It's the coaches. The whole WA Muay Thai community was out in bloody droves, and they had to sit there and watch that garbage for 5 rounds, waiting for the next fights to start.
And the other thing is, I had a conversation with one of the coaches today. Who's on both teams, and the poor buggers. He's going, he's not sure if I've done this. My Thai trainers, they're not sure what I've done, thinking the worst, and they're friends with and they don't know what team to be on.
They're stuck in the middle, mate.
And it's like, dude, we've worked together for a long time. You can have your opinion and still be an employee here. We love you still. But it's all that little bits of shit you don't need in your everyday. So
to finalise on this on this topic, we apologise to all the fight fans that bought the live stream and that were live watching it for that one non-bout. But luckily the rest of them, people fought properly, didn't they? Absolutely. They fought with heart, they fought with vigour, they fought with toughness. You search
the world for superstars and they end up being in bloody Mandarin Canning Vale.
Unbelievable.
I posted that to the guys.
Sam Gardner and Kean, folks, if you haven't seen that bout, it's one for the ages. It was fight of the night for us. We'll be biased and say it was fight of the year, won't we?
Oh, no, absolutely.
That's the bout that Adam alluded to. We actually did pay them a bonus 2 or 3 days later. We messaged both of them and their coaches together in a group chat and thanked them for putting on such an amazing bout. We weren't going to make a big deal about it. We haven't posted anything about it.
Do you want to kick off with that fight? We'll rip into that one. What are your thoughts?
Let's start with that one. So it was bout number 13, brought to you by Satin Pathology. Kean Lockheed from the Pit versus Sam Gardner.
Satin Pathology, best in the game. So the coaches in WA, they'll send a van round to your gym to do blood tests for all your fighters. They came out to the hotel. Did the this terrible promoter not looking after anybody got Satin out to take the blood in the
That's
hotel.
The other thing. We send the doctor and the Satin pathologist to the hotel, so they don't have to leave. How
did I put that back on the topic where I was just telling you to get off of?
I think there's a few other things we probably missed that we'll raise throughout the next hour. Anyway. So Satin Pathology, thank you. They've changed the game really for gyms and for coaches. They'll come out to your gym after hours, do all the bloods of the fighters in one hit. Sam, current WMC national champion. Kean, former WBC national champion, fought in RWS. I think Kean has lost his last 2 or 3 bouts, really big bouts he had on the international level, and been out of fighting for 1 year. And, you only need to watch his interview with Alex Roberts to see what that meant to him and how much he dug deep. It really meant a lot that he proved himself that he could, come back and mix it with the big names. Kean got dropped by Sam, I believe. Was it the first or second round? I think it was the second round. it's a bit of a blur now, although I have watched it a few times.
It's just one of those. It's Kean. I don't want to Kean.
Kean.
I'm going to pronounce
It's
it
like
wrong.
Darius and Darius.
7 times. Yeah. We just call you Wally and move on.
That'll do.
There was something he was fighting for. I don't know what it was. But
Himself.
There was something under there because
Himself.
You look at that fight. He gets chinned. He goes down.
Hard.
No one. If he'd have retreated after that or played safe and got to the end, you wouldn't have even been upset with the kid.
If he lost on points.
But mate, he was
Dug deep.
kicking.
Dug
The
deep.
war cry on the kid.
Yeah.
Every left kick, it was like I was sitting mate, with goosebumps. I was like, why aren't we paying these guys the bloody? Why aren't these? I was just blown away. And
we knew
and
it'd be a good
again
match.
for Sam. Sam went down, face first.
Last
again,
round, was it?
Could have stayed down, got up, mate. The guy's
Dragged
amazing.
himself up.
Yeah, absolute. It
Uh,
was.
Importantly for Kean, when he went down, he sat on his backside and waited.
Yeah, it was
He
smart.
didn't make the mistake of getting up straight away and wobbling. If he got up and wobbled and was uneasy on his feet, it could have got called off.
Yeah.
He was very smart just to recompose himself, sit on his backside, take a deep breath, listen to the call from the ref.
Who was the ref there?
It
was
was,
well
was it David?
I'm not sure.
No, it was Mehdi. I think it was Mehdi. Great job by Mehdi. Yeah.
Mehdi goes
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. By the way, side note, getting back to the Rodlek fight, David
we go.
Trong, the referee, did stop the bout and tell Rodlek and Pern off and told them to fight properly. That's very important that we raise that.
Yep.
So he called time, he pulled both fighters in together, looked at them both and said, you boys need to fight.
Yeah.
So that's quite relevant that David did that. But sorry, getting back to this one.
This moving on's not working.
No, I'll probably
Scarred.
I'll probably keep going back for the whole
From the
podcast.
from the blog in
But that's
Bangkok.
relevant information,
It
isn't
is.
it?
No, it is.
And so, he sat on his backside, gets up, and I think he saw out the rest of the round, and then he just came out, whatever the next round was, third round, and it was just a war between both boys. They were just exchanging.
The crowd went off like
It
a
went
bride's
nuts.
90. It was ridiculous.
It did.
It was huge.
I mean, it's no surprise Kean being from the pit. It's no surprise Sam coming from Larden. I've spoke about Larden and Andrew Nelson before, how might be a small gym, but I highly rate them as one of the best gyms going around. And for Sam to dig deep and to do what he did, when he got caught late, and towards the end he was obviously, he was wobbled, but he didn't hang on for dear life and just see out the round. He was exchanging back, which was dangerous because he was in the fog. And if he got clipped again, he might have gone down, but he just threw caution in the wind. Yeah. And for him to finish the way he did, Kean reciprocated and gave it back, and to watch the rest of that round and that bout, just two guys going nuts at each other. Hats off to both boys. It was an amazing performance. It was fight of the night. Two local lads in Perth. We bring in all the internationals and what have you. The other fights were good, by the way, but those boys actually stole the show, I reckon, with showing great heart. So thank you to Kean and Sam.
Well done, guys.
Anything else to add on that bout?
No.
It was a cracker.
Amazing.
Do yourself a favour and watch it once we get it up on YouTube, hopefully next week. We're not covering the whole pro card, guys. We had 14 or 15 bouts, so we're just doing the main bouts of the night. So we're going to go back now to bout number 2, which was Shannon Gardner versus Judy Humber. This bout was also brought to you by Saturn Pathology. The big thing for me on this bout was very interesting, Shan dropping down to 57 kilos. And Shan made a point of saying quite a few times that she believed Judy was the best in the world at 57 kilos. Obviously, Shan at 59 is the best in the world at WBC and WMC with the titles. It was interesting to see still the size difference that Shan had. Cutting that weight. I mean, Judy is not small. So this is interesting to see what she does at that division, whether she wants to stay there. Certainly, if Shan does, I think she could really, cause some effect in that division. I think just the size of Shan was a little bit of difference, but there was a bit of an elbow war there at one stage.
Well, I think Judy came to absolutely fight. Those
She
first
did.
couple of rounds, I thought, oh, here we go, and what it did, I think, is it pulled the best out of Shannon.
It did. Good point.
I think she went to another level because of that.
She had to rise above. Yeah.
And then just sort of started to tick
Judy
away
put it
the-
on.
the
Judy at
last-
one
yeah,
stage was eating
look,
some elbows hard. Judy, she showed so much toughness and heart.
very
and
tricky
then
those first couple.
yes, and then to fire the elbows back. And that's when Shan obviously was like, "Oh shit, I'm getting elbowed here. It's not just me.
Yeah.
I need a lift." But yeah, that was a really good fight. At one stage, it was a bit of a mini elbow war through the middle patches. So congratulations to Shan. Congrats to Judy. You came here to fight, and that's what you did. I thought you fought really well, Judy, and good luck for your next bouts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Bout number 5, Max Mcva versus James from Sinby Gym. This fight happened a week in advance, and James took this bout on a week's notice. So a big thank you to James. Obviously, Max had done camp and prepped for his big bout on RWS the week before. That bout fell over due to injury. Max was left without a bout, contacted me, and before you know it, we've matched him with James.
And Judy was a big part of that.
Judy was a massive, I did the matching with Judy, yeah. So once she told me a bit about James, and I went and did some research, and she sent me some footage, and then she sent me a list of the fighters that he'd beaten. Sexan, for instance, that we talked about before, Fairtex Ferrari. There were some big names in there that James had beaten. So we looked at that and thought, well, he's fit as a bloody fiddle. He had his last fight in March. Max was just slick. He was just slick, and Max turned it on when he needed to. I felt Max did win the fight easily, but Max did what he needed to and really showed some really strong hands. He's got a real sharp, crisp left hand that maybe people might have been surprised. I wasn't. I've seen Max spar some boxers at GTG. There's a couple of boxers there, and I've seen him do boxing only, and I know he's got hands. He just doesn't show it a lot because he doesn't need to, I suppose. But he had that left hand that really caught James on the hop and stunned him quite a few times.
Look, he's got the IQ. He's a thinker. He knows when to press. He knows when to pull back.
Amazing fighter.
But I mean, this is what happens when you learn how to put your guard up before you can walk.
Yeah, and at that level that Max is fighting in RWS, it's no surprise. Obviously he was the favourite. James took it on a week's notice, so props to him for doing that. But Max is, he's just very slick. He's got strong power.
What do you reckon? What would James do with a full camp?
I reckon James with a full camp against someone 64, 65 kilos would be amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think if he had time to, he just didn't have time to. There was no cutting, obviously, on a week's notice.
I thought I was
much cutting.
sort of saying to the guys from Riddlers, I reckon he's the Thai version of Barry Oliver in looks. I thought if Barry,
the long hair, and
he could have
the beard. Good point. I like that one.
Cousin.
Pity you weren't still fighting Barry. So look, that was a great fight, and look, Max just showed his class. And a big thanks to Max too, by the way, for making that fight happen. He played a major part in that bout, in being very flexible and negotiable in allowing that fight to happen. So thanks to Max. Okay, let's go to bout number 6. This is one of my favourite bouts of the night. Muda from the Pit versus Bank. This fight sponsored by Pursuit Muay Thai. Bank is the coach at your gym in Melbourne at Lilydale.
Yep.
Is that alongside Brian Harris?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so good.
Brian will take all the credit.
Got great coaching team there. So Bank's first fight in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I've said this before, Muda, very hard man to match, 17 bouts or 18 bouts, very short nuggety, 54, 55 kilos. I mean, very hard to match. But for Bank to take this fight, not, having fought for a long time, no warm-up fight, jumps in the ring against Mu, who's a heavy hitter and can bang, and from the pit, say no more. What about that was?
Well, the thing I like about Bank is, he's not there to fuck spiders. Do you know what I mean? He's there. He's got skill.
He did not fuck around.
He's got acid, in his blood. He wants to hurt people.
Mate, Mu came out smoking, and he just counteracted those elbows.
Yeah.
And clipped. I think he cut Mu twice in the first round.
Yeah, but I tell you what, there was that one. I think it was overhand right from Mu in the third. I thought, geez.
Well, the last round, Mu took that round, and
another fighter that could have just got
sat
tipped around and sat on the fence, but mate, he threw that thing down. And
so Mu was down the first 2 rounds. You're right.
Yeah, the wind came out of the sails a little bit. From
he came out
5.
Yep. Well, that's probably one for the future for us, isn't it? As a 5-rounder.
Yeah, Bank start running.
Let's go. Start prepping. So you're right. Mu came out in that last round. He was down the 2 rounds. He was cut. Didn't show signs of being hurt. He was just cut and losing on points. And Bank was just a technician.
Yeah.
And just really picked.
Good showman too.
It was a showman. And his interview was great. His English is really good. To be honest, he did pick Mu apart a bit those first 2 rounds, but then in that last round, Moo came out, Moo came out smoking, connected with both his hands, and at one stage I thought Banker was going to go down.
We had to tell Bank to pull it in a little bit, because that's all you need. Like, you don't want to get
knocked out.
hit by Muda in round 1 or 2 while while the energy bar's still full.
Yeah.
You want to wait until later on to maybe take one on the chin if it's going to happen.
Yeah. And you know the end's in sight.
Just dangerous fighter, Moo.
He's and for Moo to bite his mouth guard, fight as hard as he did in that last round, when you're right, he probably could have just coasted that last round, but he showed the heart of a real fighter. He showed what real fighters do, unlike another bout on the night.
Keep going back there, mate.
I can't let go of it, mate.
Let it go. Let it go.
So props to Moo in such an entertaining fight. It was one of the fights of the night, in my opinion. Bank was a bit of a showman, and look forward to bringing him back.
Super Banky.
Super Bank, yeah, okay, I like that. Yeah, it's been used before by a big name. But yeah, again though, for Bank, 54 kilos, who are we going to match him against?
Yeah.
You know, maybe he can go up to 56 or something, I don't know, but you know, that weight limit is scarce. But there's a few big names on the East Coast. But yeah, let's see what happens next. But congratulations to Bank on your first fight in Australia. Yep. And well done, Moo, for such an entertaining bout. Okay.
They did that well, they missed their flights.
On the way over.
That's why you don't take fighters to the raffles after the event.
That's right, they did too.
Right. Yeah.
Something to be
lucky it was
nice.
we have a public holiday in Melbourne. So
right.
anyway.
That's right.
But I digress.
So it was worth it. Okay, so now we'll jump to bout number 9. This was the WMC state title. Jay Fletcher versus from Amagim versus Shaq Sali from Monsters Inc. And this bout was brought to you by Above All Metal Roofing. And I'll tell you what, Shaq came out on fire in those first round or two. Yep. He really came out blistering. Jay Fletcher, you know, he weathered the storm and just slowly but surely started using his angles and getting top of Shaq towards the end.
It did like a weird, not weird, but just a different clash of styles from a, you know, what you would say a traditional Thai stylist to you know, cool head. I don't think he changed his expression once. Jay Fletcher, he's made a stone, that kid.
He had that high guard and just like, walk forward, high guard, and just 8 shots coming in. But
Shaq was moving around and all this sort of stuff.
He was bobbing and weaving.
But then Brett and Jay picked up on the back leg of Shaq, and I was saying to the MC in the time care, I think round 3, I think if he can get a couple more chops here, he's going to go. Yeah. He was proppy, tried to switch, more chops. Leg, round 4 was more. I thought, how's this kid going to get out of this? And then for some strange
Shaq was
miracle,
tough, man.
got to round 4. But I tell you, he'd be walking like a cowboy today. He would.
Especially the next morning. Shaq was tough. Shaq showed, you know, for a person under 10 fights at the time, he showed some real tough qualities. You know, I think his record prior was 8-2, so he hasn't been tested that much, Shaq. And, you know, obviously after the first 2 rounds, Jay weathered the storm, kind of worked out his game plan and just kept moving forward and, you know, really putting it back on him with some good angles as well. And Shaq ate those leg kicks, and
I reckon,
they were hurt.
Yeah. Promoters, get on to Amagim and get Jay Fletcher on your card, because he's
it's funny,
Aussie title already, mate.
I've been speaking to Brett this week by message, and you know, Jay's been around a while. You know, I think there's big and better things for Jay. We'll get him a defence. He's got to win that. You can't just get a national title. You don't just throw national titles at people just yet. Once he defends his state title, I think next year he defends that. If he wins it, I think there's some bigger bouts from a national level. Who? National title. There's a few out there. I'll have to check the rankings. Okay. I mean, obviously, there's got to be qualifying to fight for national title. You'll be ranked in the top 5 for WMC national, and you've got to have won 3 out of your last 5 bouts.
Right, we can't just make our own.
No, it's funny that. Proper titles. So we need to have a good look at that, and I'll speak to the board and find out what the rankings are for over East. But you know, he's got to defend it first. Yeah, so give Jay that chance. Absolutely. On the March 29 show. And
I think he will. I can't see him dropping that title. He's just ready to take that next step. That he's a good
quality
kid.
Jay.
Good kid.
Yep, and to Shaq as well. Shaq will bounce back. It's not over for him. He fought a very tough, clever fighter.
He'll take a lot out of it.
Shaq will go get some more experience and come back, and he'll get his chance again.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Well, we've discussed a fair bit about bout number 10, Rodlek versus Pern, so we'll just skip that one. We'll go to bout number 11. This is the last bout that we're covering. And that was Damon Nelson versus Batman. And this was a really interesting fight in the lead-up. There's a lot of coverage of Batman out there, and a lot of people could see that Batman was very strong, very heavy hands. We spoke in our preview podcast episode about Damon's style, how he likes to keep you, and all those things that we said about Damon. He stuck true to his fighting style and did exactly that.
Yeah, well, and Batman's no slouch. Holding pads here from on the Thursday night, or I should say here in the gym.
Yeah.
On Thursday night, he was fit. He was ready. He was strong. Had some little unorthodox tricks that he was trying to make me look silly with, and
kicked hard, didn't he?
And succeeded. Kicked like a mule.
Yep, kicked hard.
But it just, it's again,
Damon's style.
Five rounds. Damon was up. What do? Do you coast? No, you go for the finish with a second left.
So Damon stopped him with a second left of the last round. Wasn't that amazing?
We were running a little bit late at that stage. We could have brought him,
Could have done a bit earlier.
Mate, just help us out. But,
Batman's tough, mate, because Damon was really belting him in that last round. And for Batman to last almost the entire round was a huge effort. Again, he could have rolled over, taken the easy way out and gone down and not got up. But he showed his tough qualities and he hung in there at the very end. And Damon hit him hard.
I'd love to see
hard.
I'd love to see Batman and someone like Kean or
Sam.
Someone, I know they're a bit lighter, but
drop it. Meet somewhere with weight. Yep, big great fight.
Yeah, he's not a big cutter, Batman.
Yeah. Damon obviously, he's just big.
Yeah, and he's ready to peak. We said this at the weigh, and I truly believe, next year he's in that world title contention. The way that he's motoring along.
Absolutely.
Another name or so, and he's there.
He's there. Look, Damon controlled Batman against the ropes. You watched the footage. Batman was getting really frustrated because every time he tried to position himself to give him some advantage, Damon didn't let him out, and he kept him there. So got to the stage, Batman just had to fight on the back foot, and Damon just kept on moving forward with that high pressure, big strong hands, kicks. Batman had some strong kicks himself, so Damon actually wore some heavy kicks and some heavy punches himself. Be interesting to hear how his legs were in the morning. Yeah. But Damon did the job that he had to do, and that is that he put it on him and really rocked him badly in that last round, and then finished him with a second to go. So congratulations to both boys. Well done, Damon. Yeah. That is that's a big scout for Damon. And you're right. There'll be some big things for him next year. Yeah. We'll have to work on his next bout, won't we? Yeah. Okay, so the last bout I had on here was the Kean versus Sam Gardner fight. We did discuss that. Props to all those fighters that we've just mentioned. There was a pretty special thing on the night, Adam, that started quite a few weeks ago with the MTA WA board, led by Tony Fisher, and that is that he got some gloves signed by many WA, I suppose, Muay Thai high-level people, whether they were ex-fighters or coaches of today, or some current fighters who are world champions. World champions from the past, for instance, we had Kaylee, we had Eugene, yourself, Riddler, too many to name. There was about 12 or 13 photos on the frame picture with their autograph. We put it online about 6 weeks ago to do an online auction, and then it was going to finish on the show. I was actually the leading bidder at $1,000, so I kicked it off, and I'm so glad I didn't win, and that is because the auction on the night went bananas, and for us to raise for Keelan $3,600 was amazing.
Well, I think that was definitely driven. I won't take any.
No credit from us.
The guys at the MTA. I think we've got to mention. Yep. The sparring day that James did. With Riddler in tow and those sort of guys, and you were in it.
I lasted 5 rounds.
But the board
cramp.
But the WA community really got behind it, and you guys. Well
look, that sparring day was amazing. Everyone got behind Keelan then. And like I said, this has been led by Tony Fisher, so I'm not taking any credit. I was just glad that we could use our show as a facility to do a live auction, something I've never done before in 6 years. So to do that auction, and we had all those, as many people as possible that were there on the night. We had them all in the ring. If you check the footage out, folks, But everyone in the ring, we're all scouting, looking out in the crowd to see those that were sticking their hands up.
You know, and a couple of beers. There's a few guys bidding against each other.
Oh yeah,
it was good.
Maybe next time you do it at midnight, so they've had more.
It was one of the members from the pit. I think took it home. So
Roy Wills, mate. Yep. Roy was all over him. Wouldn't let him. wouldn't let him keep his hand down. He kept yelling at him. Oh, you put your hand back up.
Burpees so that was on good. Monday.
Yes. So amazing to that gentleman. I don't have his name. I apologise, but to that gentleman associated with the pit and to Roy Wills, congratulations and thank you for putting your hand up and being the winning bidder at 3,600. Amazing result for Keelan. Yeah.
So in all, mate, summary, you're happy with the show, Sad? I mean, it was a bit up and down with the feel and.
Oh look, you know, I think we've got to shout out to the Perth Convention and Exhibition Centre.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. We went through.
We're really shouting out.
We went through. Yeah, come on, let's do it. Okay. We went through a bit of red tape with this venue, government-owned venue, obviously. There's a lot of unknowns for us. We didn't know what they're going to charge us until the end, and all this stuff that we had to go through hoops to be able to do the show. But to be fair, in the washout this week,
it didn't leak. They'll give them that.
Yes,
it was watertight.
Yes, but to be fair, credit where credit's due. The feedback from the people loved the venue.
Right.
They loved the seating arrangements, the tables, just the feeling inside the room. It was obviously a step above as far as being a quality venue. Many good comments, and dealing with them post show this week has been really good. And it's, you know, they stuck to their word on things that we were probably a little bit worried about, and not them in particular, but any government agency. And it's, you know, they stuck to their word, and it was a successful show. And we're pretty happy.
I think, you know, the only thing that not the only thing I've missed this week, but with all that's gone on and sort of getting back into work, and you know, I think we've got to say a big congratulations and thank you to one Maddie Black. She's probably the only person who's going to listen to this till the end, who wasn't fighting, and she was. I think we were in there on Friday at the gym, and
unbelievable how it
getting
happened.
Table placements ready and stock, and a fight opened up, and she was there waiting to take it. She got to the venue. She was setting up tables. She would not sit down.
She set up the show with us and then disappeared. Got
3
ready
fights
for a fight.
before we wrapped her hand. She came out. She won, and then she got straight back to work doing reels ringside.
That's a fighter.
Oh, it's just amazing.
Albeit 4 or 5 bouts early on in the career, she showed absolute guts to put a hand up when we lost the bout on the Friday afternoon. She said, "I'll fight." No hesitation at all. In fact, I reckon she was just waiting for a pull out, wasn't she? She wanted to fight badly.
She was fattening up. You know,
yes.
Putting in the drink.
Yes. Plenty of carbs. So look, she asked us to fight, and of course, you know, when you get a pull out, you do whatever you can. Took the fight on a day's notice.
Well, I wasn't making 49.
No, definitely not. And then that night, not just that, but the night before the fight, she went home after the weigh-in and did all that work for us as well, and helping prepare.
She left the venue at 2:30, the same time as us. So.
Yep. The night of the show. Yep.
Amazing.
So to help run the show and then disappear 3 bouts before a fight, get wrapped up, come out, fight, win, go backstage, get changed, come back and work the rest of the show and do all the reels for us ringside for the pro show was a huge result. Amazing effort. Well done, Maddie.
Thank you, Maddie.
We appreciate it. And to Shell Reed and to Mad Dog Jim, thank you to you guys, because they had prepped and done camp for a totally different fighter, different style. And then the day before, that gets thrown upside down. And you know, if you want to fight, you've got no choice. You've got to take this fight. It's unsettling for them. So well done, Shell. I know Shell Reed will fight anyone. She's a really good sport. So thank you to those guys for taking the bout as well.
Yeah. And I think last but not least, look, I think we've tried to be as open and honest as we can on the whole situation. There's obviously some things that we're not allowed to discuss, you know, with inquiries and things from government bodies and whatnot, which.
Well, let's.
No, I'm staying out of that one, mate.
I'll say it. So the WA Combat Commission are looking into that as a sham fight. I mean, that's
We've got other stuff as well.
Yeah. There's other things connected to that, but it's no surprise. It's in their. If you go on their website and their rules and regulations, if there's a sham fight, there is consequences that the WA government can get involved in. Now that's got nothing to do with us. So it's in their hands. We've got nothing to do with it. But
so I just didn't want to comment on that.
Okay.
Say, look, we won't go any deeper into.
Yeah, no, we won't.
I think what you said's fine.
But it's this stuff's pretty serious, and this is why Adam and I have wanted to really express our side of the story in the podcast. because there's always two sides to every story, and you'd be pretty silly to only listen to one. You've heard both sides now. Go back and make your own opinion. We can't tell you what opinion you want to make. You've heard the facts and versions from both. Watch the fight when we release it. Tell us what you think. Put it in the comments.
Tell Darius. All right.
Put in the comments whatever you want to do. Watch the fight and see for yourself. Yeah. It's hard to leave it alone, but I'll try.
Here we go. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with our rubbish. And we're on to the next show.
Yes.
Which is the
Saturday, December 14. We're doing a Category D style amateur bout. So that's teeps, no teeps and knees to the head, bigger gloves, 90-second rounds, very grassroots. Nice little name we've got for it, haven't we, Adam?
Yep.
Go
Inception.
On. Inception. So we're calling
Champagne marketing.
Inception being that it's grassroots. And then after that, in February, I think it's the first or second Saturday of February, we are doing a junior show as well. Mm-hmm. And then we will get to our big show, March 29, where it'll be the amateur show during the day and the pro show during the night. We've got a big national title fight already matched. That's going to be a really, really good fight. And that'll be someone coming from Queensland. We'll announce that later. So we've got, 3 shows, 2 little ones and a big one between now and
Plenty
March 29.
of people to rip off between now and March.
Don't say that.
But on that note, we'll leave with you. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being a part of our promotion.
Thanks for tuning in.